So let's move on to our main event.
The
So
main event.
it took place on Thanksgiving Day, November 22nd, 1990. It was from the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. So, like I said, I should say the match. Let's see if I could get it right this time. Hulk Hogan, Tito Santana, Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Martel, Power and
Yep.
Glory, and the Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase. And they
Yep.
were the survivors of the Survivor Series.
Yes. So this is
Our
the grand finale, the match of survival.
the
So
match of survival. So let's go on and see what was get uh in the box office and on. Uh, let's go on and see what was in the on the radio and in the movies at that time. So number one movie at that time, Home Alone.
yes.
Now, I just want to make this point. I always thought Wayne's World was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. However, that came out in like 1992. I do remember seeing Home Alone in theaters, so this might be the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
I definitely saw it in the theater as well. I think every kid in that era loved that movie. That movie
Oh,
was so big.
for sure. And it's funny because my kids love that movie, and we were just talking today that we might watch it tomorrow. So that just shows you how like timeless that movie is. So on the
Absolutely.
radio, I'm going to name a couple songs that you might be interested in, and then I will follow up with the number one song at that time.
Okay.
So we had uh, "So Close" by Hall and Oates, "Ice Ice Baby" by Vanilla Ice,
Oh yeah.
uh, "Pray" by MC Hammer.
Oh man, you know what's funny? I'll tell you this. That was the first cassette tape I ever had was MC Hammer.
You
I did. I had an MC Hammer tape.
was it in a box labeled "Can't Touch This"?
I don't know why I had it. I just know that was the first tape I had.
Also on the radio, "Something to Believe in" by Poison, "I'm Your Baby Tonight" by Whitney Houston, and the number one song at the time is "Love Takes Time" by Mariah Carey. So let's go take a gander at what was going on in the world at that time. So this was in November of 1999. November 2nd, the first NBA game at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We also had the first regular game played outside North America by any major professional sports league when the NBA's Phoenix Suns beat the Utah Jazz at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium in Japan.
Mm.
On November 4th, Iraq says that it's preparing for a dangerous war. November 8th, 100,000 additional U.S. troops are sent to the Persian Gulf. Now, remember, this is right. They're heading in. I don't know if it's going on yet or they're heading into the Gulf War.
Right.
Um, so November 8th, unconfirmed rumors emerged that Bush might announce an airlift of supplies to the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait, which could ultimately trigger a military clash. Also on November 8th, musician Chris Isaac released Wicked Game.
Oh my God. That's quite the music video.
Now, I did not know. I know this song, but I know it because it was like a cover by him. But I do remember there being a show on TV called The Chris Isaac Show.
Yes.
Do you remember anything about that, or do you have any thoughts on Chris Isaac?
I remember that I remember that show being on. I don't remember anything from it, but I do know that song pretty well. It was one of those even in the late 90s, there's one of those songs that'd be on VH1 like I don't know, at least once a day. It was kind of like a, I don't want to say it's a black and white or noir or something. It's some kind of dark tone video on an island with him and a girl chasing each other around or so. It was very it was very very interesting video.
November 10th, John Hughes' film Home Alone, directed by Chris Columbus and starring Macaulay Culkin, premieres in Chicago. November 15th, producers confirmed that Milli Vanilli didn't sing on their album. November 19th, pop duo Milli Vanilli are stripped of their Grammy Award after it is learned that they did not sing on their award-winning Girl You Know It's True album. Pepper, can you give us your best bar from the song Girl You Know It's True?
Girl, you know it's true. No, I can't do that. I need you to lip sync it for me.
All right, ready? Here I go.
Hey, go ahead. Sorry.
There. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
Hey, you know what's odd with Milli Vanilli? Apparently those guys could actually sing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they still had lip sync.
Here's
And you know who their security guard was? The
no, I
bodyguard.
don't.
Vampiro.
Oh yeah, I do remember hearing that. Now, was he like actually their bodyguard or security guard, or did he just pretend to? I don't know. I had a joke there, but I was.
Pictures with them, but who knows? It's Vampiro.
November 21st. Unfortunate. Dean Hart passes away. Brother of Bret Hart.
Yes, if I remember correctly in Bret's book, he dedicated the Survivor Series match to him,
which was the next day.
And he had like a good sequence with DiBiase because DiBiase wanted to work with him and give him a little tribute.
November 22nd, Margaret Thatcher announces her resignation as British Prime Minister. November 26th, the first ever Billboard Music Awards. MC Hammer and Janet Jackson win big. November 29th, UN Security Council approves U.S.-sponsored resolution authorizing the use of force in the Persian Gulf if Iraq does not withdraw from Kuwait by January 15th, 1991. And November 29th, oh God, I can't say their full name, but Blake and Dylan, the actors better known as Nicky and Alex in Home Alone, were born.
What? They were born in 1990?
On November 29th, 1990.
But they're in Home Alone.
Full House.
Oh, I thought you said Home.
I meant.
Whoa. Hold on. Repeat this. You're confusing me.
What was there? Repeat. Nicky and Alex.
Who are Nicky and Alex?
On Full House.
What, the reboot?
No. The original.
Who's
They were the
Nicky
twins.
What, the Olsen twins?
Yeah.
That's not their names.
No, Nicky and Alex are their names.
What? Oh.
Nicky and Alex, who were played by Blake and Dylan, were born.
I don't know these characters.
They were on like almost every the last 6 seasons of Full House. They were Uncle Jesse's kids.
Oh, okay. I got you now. Well, you screwed it up in the first place.
I did not screw anything up. Anyway,
All right, all right.
so why did you pick this match?
Well, it's just something I was thinking. You know what? Because everybody picks when it's Survivor Series, like the Undertaker debut, maybe the Gobbledygooker. I wanted to pick something that I remember as an early fan, something that I watched that I remember because I remembered the promo before the match more than anything.
But why this and
Uh,
not Clowns R Us?
that's a classic for many reasons, but that's not something I was really thinking about at the time. So no, I it's just a different time. That's all. Like you know, it, we'll get into it. So
All
I
right,
just
sounds good.
it's been a long time since I watched the match, and I really wanted to watch it again.
All right, well, this came together because it was a weird thing that WWE was doing. Not a weird thing, but a different thing that they were doing at the time, where any one of the like all the survivors would team up at the end of the night in like an ultimate Survivor Series match, and it would be heels versus faces. And actually, at WWE magazine at the time, there was actually like a nice little pull-out thing where you could put check marks against like whoever got eliminated or who went on, and at the end you have your ultimate Survivor Team styles match. Ultimate Warrior was the final survivor in his team. Um, I guess so if he's in here, but he had the Warriors, which was Animal Hawk and Texas Tornado, and they defeated the Perfect Team, which was Axe, Crush, Mr. Perfect, and Smash. Ted DiBiase was the sole survivor when his team beat the team of Bret Hart, Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and Jim Neidhart. And then Paul, Roma, Hercules, and Rick Martel were all on one team where they defeated Jake Roberts, Snuka, and the Rockers. And then the Hulkamaniacs, which was Big Boss Man, Hulk Hogan, Jim Duggan, and Tugboat, defeated the Natural Disasters, which was the Barbarian, Dino Bravo, Earthquake, and Haku. So Hulk Hogan was the sole survivor on there. And then the Alliance, which this is kind of funny that Tito Santana was the sole survivor, which was Butch, Luke, Nikolai Volkov, and Tito Santana defeated Boris Zukov, Sergeant Slaughter, who would go on at the Royal Rumble and win the WWF title, Sato, and Tanaka. So this led us to our 3-on-5 Survivor Series match. So Matt, if you would want to take it away, tell us go through the match.
I just want to talk about the promo before the match. So I remember this promo. I must have had a tape of this show because I remember watching the promo and they were hyping this match and I thought it was an odd trio of Hogan, Warrior, and Tito Santana.
One of these things does not belong.
Right. And this is the funny story with it was I remember my stepdad, I was talking to him about it. I was like, yeah, I go, it's good. Like Hogan, Warrior, and Tito are taking on five guys. And then his exact response was Tito Santana. Because he wasn't looked at in that regard, like Hogan.
Especially at this time, because this was like years after his IC title run.
Yeah, yeah. So they did the promo, and Hogan. I don't know how many times along with brother. I don't know how many times he said "dude" in this promo, and then Tito does promo, and he's like, "That's right, baby," and he's like, "We're gonna win. We're gonna survive, baby," and all. And I'm like. And then Warrior, and I wrote down Warrior that I have no idea what he said. I did catch that all the Warriors made the sacrifice for this match. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't even matter what Warrior says because you just sit there and watch him, and it's like I don't know. So then, anyway, the heels come down. Rick Martel has like the cockiest entrance of all time. He's got like the arrogant spray, and which I loved. I love like, Rick Martel
Oh
is a
yeah,
treasure.
he really is. He does not get the attention that
No,
he deserves.
Power and Glory. Hercules is absolutely jacked at this time. Like, he's just a monster. Paul Roma, who's also jacked, but he's giving it to the fans on the way to the ring, and that I love. Warlord is just, I mean, he takes up the whole aisle. He's just
Huge.
huge. He's a monster. And DiBiase comes out with Virgil, and I know I don't have to tell you this, but DiBiase, to this day, one of the greatest theme songs in the history of wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
I just loved it. Love it, love it. When I hear these old themes, it's just like, yeah, like just takes you back. Like it's like such a cool memory.
See, I'm
So
surprised that AEW hasn't tried to scoop up Jim Johnson.
yeah. Well maybe he's not doesn't want to work or anything. He probably doesn't have to work.
Yeah.
I would say the two people that really made entrance themes pop in wrestling was Jim Johnson and Jimmy Hart.
Yes.
So Hogan comes out, real American hits. I don't have to tell you how iconic that song is. So he comes out, it's the Hogan entrance. Tito comes out, he sprints the ring.
Arriba.
Arriba. And then Warrior comes out, big pop for the Warrior on this show. And obviously he sprints the ring too.
Arriba.
So the bell rings. Right off the bat, Tito hits the flying forearm on Warlord and eliminates him, that was pretty cool. Crowd pops big when Tito just takes out the Warlord right off the bat. But I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So Tito, because you're not expecting it, right?
No, and especially this late.
Yeah.
It's a main event. You want to get people's attention, right?
Yeah, you get that big pop right off the bat. Roma comes in, power slams Tito. He tags in Ted. He grounds Tito. Tito reverses the clothesline, gets some good fire, and then he goes for the flying forearm, and he misses DiBiase. And that looked awesome too, because Tito would fly in that forearm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he
that
would
looked
just go
cool.
flying.
And Ted then stun guns Tito and eliminates him. So Tito's out pretty quick in this match. But that opening part with Tito, people forget how good Tito Santana was.
Yeah.
Tito Santana from like the mid 80s to the mid 90s, one of the best wrestlers in the business, period.
I agree.
Hogan comes in, throws some punches, takes to the corner. Ted takes over. They have some back and forth. Roma comes in, forearm from the top, tags Martel, axe handle to Hogan, and he keeps axe handling Hogan like over and over and over again. Hercules comes in, he's punching Hogan like crazy. He's pounding, pounding, and pounding Hogan, turnbuckles Hogan. So they're getting a lot of heat on Hogan. So yeah, they're putting a lot of heat on Hogan. Hercules is really pounding on him. Ted comes back in, axe handles Hogan, knee drops, Hogan kicks out. DiBiase starts nailing the fist drops on Hogan.
Oh, I loved when he used to do this.
Oh, that was one of the best moves. And he's the only guy I've ever seen do it. And if anyone does a fist drop, it doesn't look like that.
No.
Because the way he did it, like he would ball the fist and then just fall over.
Yeah. Two of the best fist drops is that DiBiase fist drop and Jerry Lawler's off the rope, the middle rope fist drop. That's a move that should be brought back.
The fist drop?
Yeah.
Hercules comes back in, starts throwing more punches on Hogan. I don't think Hercules does any moves other than punches. Um, so he puts Hogan on the top rope. Power and Glory do their double team finish on Hogan, which was the superplex and then the splash. And then Hogan no sells it. It's time to Hulk up, brother. Uh, so he ends up clotheslining Roma and eliminates him. Martel's in. He's kicking Martel. Tags in the Warrior. Punches. Does a back body drop on Martel. Slams Martel. Body slams. Face slams him. Hulk comes in. Does some punches. He does the big boot. Then clotheslines out of the ring. Martel bails on the match. Says that's enough. Walks out. Gets counted out. So he leaves his team high and dry because he's been getting beat up. Ted DiBiase comes in. He's complaining to the ref, complaining to everybody about Martel bailing. He and Hogan lock up in the corner. Ted takes over and then gets reversed to the corner. Hogan destroys him in the corner with a clothesline. Hogan just smokes him. That corner clothesline Hulk used to do sometimes look pretty
Oh
nasty.
yeah, especially because he's a big guy. You gotta realize
Yes.
how big he is.
And it's funny because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of Hulk's offense isn't isn't vicious, but when you see that move, he lays it in. I think Bret Hart talked about that on a shoot interview. He said that clothesline was stiff that Hogan would throw in the corner, and it looked stiff in this one. He grabs DiBiase by the ankles and picks him up and slams him in the mat. Hogan does the big boot and then the leg drop, brother, and he eliminates DiBiase. Warrior comes in, so it's Hercules that's left. Warrior's just destroying Hercules in this match, and at this point in the match, he does the running shoulder block, hits the splash, eliminates Hercules. Hogan and Warrior are the sole survivors of the match.
And what
Slick,
Hogan must do.
we'll get to that in a sec. So Slick gets in the ring, he gets tossed out. Then it's the celebration time. Warriors music's playing. He's spinning the bell around over his head, and then they're trying to do the whole like Hulk's gonna let Warrior out of the ring. He's holding the ropes for him. Warrior won't do it. Then he holds the ropes for Hogan. They're doing the babyface pandering thing, and yes, it's celebration time. Hulk must pose. Warrior must pose. That would be a match that, after a long show, that's something to send the fans home happy with. You have the two top baby faces in the ring. It's not a technical masterpiece by any means, but when you look at the guys in the ring in this match, over, it doesn't get more Hogan. More.
It doesn't.
Doesn't get more over than Hogan and the Warrior in 1990. I mean, these guys, and then, I mean, think about the talent that was in that match. Talked about Tito. You got DiBiase, who was one of the best heels, technical wrestlers of his day. Martel, who you said, and I agree, one of the most underrated wrestlers, probably in the history of the company, history of the business. Power and Glory were a big team in those days. They were one of the top, they were one of the top teams. Warlord was one of those iconic guys. He was mostly a tag team guy, but at this point, he was, I think he was a singles wrestler at this point. But all iconic people, and I just enjoyed it. It's a nostalgia trip. There isn't like tons of substance to the match, but there is a lot of sub stories in the match. Because you have that kind of weird friction with Hogan and Warrior, which made me wonder if they were at least thinking about a rematch with those two.
Possibly.
I wonder.
Maybe if the Gulf War didn't go the way that it did, and Slaughter wasn't that major heel, because this was the beginnings of, the turncoat.
Yes.
That could have been their backup.
So yeah, so by January, Warrior would lose the title to Slaughter. I'm always very interested in some of these interviews when they talk about Warrior not doing well as champion or whatever, because to me, he was always over in that in that time. I don't know. I always find that odd when I hear interviews
Mm-hmm.
about that because I to me he was I don't know anybody that back then that didn't like Warrior.
Yeah.
Like I would be at school and people were like doing the press slam motion and like talk about Warrior. Like Hogan was over too, but I don't know. I always found I just seems to me like they had an odd friction in the ring, which kind of was making me wonder if maybe they were going to turn somebody and have that match. But Warrior, because was that WrestleMania
6.
90, right? So, well, when he won, but the next year will be 7, right?
Yeah, so it was
So,
Hogan
so
and
he wrestled
Slaughter.
and Warrior wrestled Savage, right?
Yes.
And that was the retirement match. Because Savage did he cost Warrior the title?
Yeah, I think he hit him with a scepter.
The scepter, yes. So yeah, so I don't know. I'm just curious if they were planning to see for that Hogan and Warrior thing. None of the heels in that at that time really they didn't go on to any main event statuses, right? DiBiase was the only guy previous to that that really was in that picture. And Tito, obviously, Tito was the gatekeeper of the WWF for a long time. He was the guy that won all the little ones, some of the big some of the mid higher card ones, but never the big ones. So just an interesting time in the WWF. So cool,
Yeah.
cool nostalgia trip, I thought. And
Yeah, it was nice going down memory lane. Like you said, like Ultimate Warrior, what kid at the time didn't like Ultimate Warrior? And Hulk Hogan was the old guard. So like those two just teaming. I mean, I know we joke about Tito or whatever, but just seeing like Warrior and Hogan teaming up with some like,
yeah,
taking on like a whole bunch of bad guys.
yeah. And could you
Like that's
imagine
pretty cool.
if you were there, right? If you were a kid, if you're let's say you're 10 years old, you're like, oh my God, Hogan and Warrior are on a team. Would that not be like the coolest thing ever when you were a kid?
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
I hope we can do some more matches with some of these guys in the future. I'm sure we will. But yeah, that was a cool trip. So I'm glad
All
we got.
right. Well, normally at this point, it's supposed to be Punga's pick this week. Uh, I don't know where he is. He kind of dropped off in middle of the show.
Yeah,
So what we will do is we will message him, and next week, folks, it's a mystery what match we're going to review. Just tune in. You'll know what it
mystery
is
match.
anyway in the description. Punga's
Yeah.
mystery match.
Well, I'm more than curious to see what that's going to be.
Well,
My prediction. My prediction. It will either involve the Undertaker or Shawn
yeah. I don't think we're going to be getting any Frank Gotches versus
George Hackenschmidt.
George Hackenschmidt from Punga. Well,
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if he's even joining us this week. So if not, or next week, I mean. So if not, I will pick something midweek and we'll watch it and review it.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We'll have a couple more shows from this week up this weekend, and then the bunch of episodes will drop next week. And keep following us on social media. Keep sharing it. Keep liking it. Getting a lot of listens in a lot of different areas. So thanks to everybody listening,
Especially those in Singapore.
especially those in Singapore.
All right.
Killer
For
Con, Killer Con.
for Matt, I'm Derek. See you next week.
Yeah.